So how we basically kind of divide our channels is basically threefold. So you have the on-site and the off-site content. Then you have events and you have cold outreach. In terms of the on-site content, what's very important for, like, let's say, the inbound lead generation is real expert content. So I'm not talking about any GPT generated information. I'm talking about actual, whether it's videos, whether it's articles, other side kind of content like infographics. The core of it is you're actually it should be of a quality that you could justifiably ask for payment for this type of content. That's really the crucial part of it. So we're kind of beyond an age, especially after GPT launch. Everybody knows in the first year of GPT, a lot of articles, a lot of content was generated, but it's useless because everybody has GPT and GPT is everywhere integrated. So they don't need your blog or your videos about it. What they need is you as an expert in your particular Web3 B2B field to just share what is not on GPT or on Google. So you need to find a way how to transform the information you have in-house with your managers or developers, to transform it into content. So obviously, some easy ways to do that is podcast, for example. It's a little bit less structured, but it's a very easy way for your other staff members to share information. But you can also write articles. You can generate, let's say, a podcast with your colleagues, and then have your writer summarize that podcast in a more structured way. It could be even in a type of a lesson format, or generate other types of content from that, like infographics. So you got to find a workflow where basically you're tapping into the expertise that you have and communicate it to the outside world. And with an emphasis on the quality should be what you give your own clients, not just what can be found on Google itself. So obviously this is to build experience, to show expertise, and that will build the trust, and eventually that will generate leads for you, inbound leads. Google will rank them. GPT might even rank them as well, right? Because GPT will reference certain information. So tutorials obviously are very interesting. If you're in the development field, you can create tutorials. I will show you something that Tokenminds did here. If you go to Tokenminds, says training, how to secure your smart contract, where one of our developers will give a video presentation, right, about
Hello,
with
everyone,
different
and well,
chapters on
open Zeppelin.
securing smart contracts, which is a real pain point, right? You have a Web3 company, how do you secure that, right? Or sorry, you have a Web3 smart contract, how do you secure that? Then how do you integrate a wallet connection? How do you optimize your smart contract for gas? Sorry, someone has a question? If anybody has a question, just jump in, right? This is an interactive format, so don't feel embarrassed to ask. Here there's one of I did, B2B lead generation. So that's an excellent format, because what you can do then, you can combine it with something like cold outreach, and you can actually tell people, hey, I've got this great information for you that you might be looking for. So here you can see it as well. What is very recommendable is making it into, let's say, a lead magnet format. So if you go to one of these ones, you will see a little form here. So you would send them this link, right? For example, in your cold outreach campaign, and say, hey, I saw you have a smart contract. Do you know how to secure it in the best way, right? Send it to a list of CoinMarketCap, maybe lower ranking ones that don't have that level yet. And they will be able to actually engage with you through the form and generate an engaged lead. So yeah, again, right, like focus on really the in-depth information, and tutorials are a great way. It's quite easy for your team as well, because what you can do is just, you can tell them, hey, we have this format, make a lesson, and follow your own expertise. So if a marketing manager, developers, depending on their own expertise, they can create, transform some of their expertise into a nice tutorial for people, which can be used as the lead magnet. Obviously, podcasts and webinars, which is the nice thing about this, is that you're doing two in one. You're not only basically providing expert information. So what I would highly recommend to do is use your own network within the B2B field, right? And have your expertise combined with someone else. That way you're not only adding extra value, but you're also leveraging their channels where they will share this video. And then you have some cross pollination in terms of your lead sourcing, right? So you might get leads from their audience out of this. So that's a great way. And it's an easy way to set up. It's an easy panel, schedule an hour, and have people talking about a particular subject like the RWA tokenization in our case, right? So again, you leverage those and tag them, obviously. And then, once you're publishing it on your channel, tag them and ask them to reshare it in their channels as well. That's a great way to source new leads. Infographics, I think I mentioned that you can have your content team convert some of this information into infographics, into articles that are easy to share and easy to consume for people. Not everybody wants to watch a video. Sometimes people just want to, read something, and it's great for Google indexing as well. Case studies are always nice, but I think a lot of you are already using that for your sales, but it can be also very powerful for your marketing, obviously, so not to overlook. Offsite content, also quite important, right? So what I've discussed so far, by the way, are there any questions so far about the on-site content part I was talking about? Offsite content. So, basically it's everything not published on your own website, right? So why is this important? It's important, obviously, for SEO, but it's also it's important for referrals. Obviously, you want to generate leads from those pages, or at least visits. But it's also important for GPT, because even though tools like GPT are great lead generation tools, because a lot of B2B leads, they're asking GPT, who's the best firm in this, who's the best, who can I best ask about this, these articles that you publish, not only in your own website, they will be used and referred by GPT, but also the articles that are published on other websites will be used, right? And if you're mentioned there, for example, here, Hello published an article about us, about being a great source of information about tokenization, for example, then GPT will reference that, right? Because it's indexed in Bing and it uses Bing for this. So it's a great, we're getting regular leads from GPT in the last 6 months. So it's a great way. Then another, anybody, we're going into the events. Anybody have questions about the offsite content so far? Oh, Dira, you're here. Thank you. We have some problem with the capacity in Gather. I got a message, so maybe you can look into that. Anybody got question about the events? Rather the offsite content. Otherwise, I will just continue with the events here. Events, what you can do, and I'm talking about offline events here for a second. I think a lot of B2B companies, including Web3, well, we all know in crypto, there's lots of events. You can choose, right? You can either go there as a guest or you can go there as a sponsor. But there is a third way, right? You can actually do side events, which is really great. And why is it so good? I mean, I'm assuming, can I ask any of you, who of you guys are already doing side events right now at conferences? And who's, let me just see who is doing any side events so far for your company. I wish there was a way. Can you guys, is there a button to click to show the hand or to give a thumbs up? Give me a thumbs up if you are already doing side events at conferences. Okay, I'm gonna assume that's nobody so far. So that is great because it's actually a great way, because the problem with these two options here, as a guest, right? Well, good luck. The problem is, okay, you want a network. Well, some of the better events out there will give you a networking app, but even if they do, it sucks, right? They try, and of course, it's not the worst. Um, Can I have the slides to know about the first part? Yeah, yeah, we'll be sending that out after the event for sure, VC. Um, so, but the networking part is pretty tricky actually, right? As you guys know, yeah, it's not so easy to validate and vet leads from these networking apps. The information is limited. The replies, they're using some app that people don't check. It's a bit messy. Just walking around and trying to talk to people is great, but it's also not very predictable to get the right results and to be the most effective, right? And then you have the sponsor option, and we all know in crypto, actually sponsoring is not that price wise is not that crazy. But there are so many sponsors, right? It's crazy. They are accepting everybody to speak, to showcase the logo here. And unless you have a very smart sponsoring technique, which there are, but definitely you've got to work with the bigger budget to actually stand out there. So it's not for everybody. And then if you're just going to calculate it on a lead generation or a cost per sale basis, it's going to get very, very tricky to actually make the sponsorship work for your company. So that's why side events are great, because why? Everybody can organize them. You can invite your own leads. You can vet your own leads because, for example, if you use a tool like Luma, which most crypto companies do, they will come in and you will be able to see who's coming in. You'll be able to accept who will join your side event. And most big conferences will have a side event calendar or something where anybody that goes will actually sign up. So you can that's of course the same when you have a booth in an event. You cannot pick who's coming to your booth. You might spend a lot of time on leads that are actually not real leads because they're just walking around. Where a side event, you can actually choose who comes, right? You can actually accept. It's a really great way. People really like it. People appreciate it. It's a good way to stand out from normal sponsors. And it's actually a very affordable way. All you need to do, have a couple of you guys go there, have a decent venue, and I can guarantee you're paying competitive. At least you can optimize your budget better than a sponsorship. Sponsorship, the best you can do is negotiate a little bit. But when it comes to a side event, you can have more variables. You can choose where your venue is. You can choose your drinking budget. You can really adjust it accordingly. And you don't need much, really. I think you need to have a bit of organization. First, you need to think of a team, which is different, which attracts people. Like what we're doing here is connecting. We have a networking event here, connecting founders and investors. Why? Because a lot of founders are looking for investors, right? Doesn't mean that they're necessarily always the best leads for us, because we are working for both startups and existing Web3 companies. So let's say it's not in our case, not our full target audience, but it's, let's say, half of our target audience. And we can really offer value for them, right? Because if we can connect them to investors, that's valuable for them. And if you create value, again, going back to the lead magnet structure, create valuable content, you create trust, and you create conversions. Same here, right? Trust and conversions will come out of this, even though it's not 100% our target audience, but it's still something where we can provide really great value with. And it's, again, easy to organize. We just choose a venue. We have some tokenized banners there, some roll-ups. We have of course a drinking budget. We have a couple of our guys there. We have some wristbands there, so to identify investors and founders. And we actually keep it very simple. We don't do any, I mean, again, this is up to you. You can make it as complicated. You can have like a banner there. You can have a screen. You can have like pitches, presentations. We actually like to keep it as simple as possible, just to the point, connect them to people, and to similar like a speed dating setup. And it's very, very popular. Again, providing great value. Anybody got questions about the side events part? Again, if you do have a question, I think you can just unmute and just talk if you want to. If not, I will continue to the last part actually of the presentation, which is the cold outreach. So it's actually, again, this cold outreach actually links to all the other slides before this, right? Because if you're doing this cold outreach to the old way, where you just say, oh hey, hi, John, like I really like your company, we're, by the way, we're doing this and this and this, you want to jump on a quick call? That's not gonna work because they don't know you. They don't, like, you're sending them an unsolicited email, which is the whole point of cold outreach. And you're asking them to do something for you, basically, right? Because you're asking them if you want to give you a chance to give a call for your sales pitch, right? Which is not good. It doesn't work anymore. What you want to do in cold outreach is you want to provide real value. You want to send them, hey, John, I got this. I got it. We created this great training for you guys for the community, free to use. Here you go. Or hey, John, we're doing this side event, in Singapore, and we saw that you might be there. Here you got your invite. If you apply, we'll accept you right away, right? Just don't ask them anything. Give them something, and then they will go through the lead funnel. Eventually, once they feel like they receive value from you, they might come back to you to actually be an engaged lead. So that's it in a nutshell, guys. I hope that was valuable information for you guys. And